Are you tired of scrolling through Game Pass nonstop and having no idea what to play? With the giant and ever-changing list of games, it can be a daunting task deciding what game you should try. What if you get 5 hours in and you don't like it? It feels like a massive waste of time. What if you scroll by a game 100 times because the thumbnail is boring, but the game is ridiculously fun and you never knew? Well, one of my major goals with this channel, and my game reviews in particular, is to help you decide what to play next. I want to help you decide what to play from your backlog, but also what games you should play right away so that they never get put in your backlog in the first place. And one of those games you shouldn't pass on is Tinykin. So let's go over the highs and lows of Tinykin and see if you should play the game right away. Tinykin is a game that looks like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but plays in a similar way to Pikmin. It's a 3D puzzle platformer that oozes charm, but is also a crazy collectathon game if you wish to 100% the game. You control a variety of different colored Tinykin that follow you around and are used to help you solve puzzles. Each different color has different abilities, such as carrying heavy objects, being able to hold an electrical current, or the ability to form a bridge. So you need to understand the layouts and the requirements of each puzzle so you can figure out the best solution. Now, when you first load into the game, the first thing you're going to notice is the visuals. The colors are bright and vibrant, and the graphical design is rather cartoony, but I think it's a visual treat to look at. The cutscenes are brief but fantastic, like little short animation sketches, and they're adorable to watch. The level designs are also fantastic. I spent a ton of time not playing the game, but running around and seeing and finding all the cute little things hiding around every corner. From little beds made out of matchstick boxes, to a child's bedroom with all these toys used to create an amazing set piece, the creativity in the game is great. I think it's extremely comparable to the amazing set designs of It Takes Two, and if you like the visual style of that game, you'll most likely enjoy it here too. Along with the amazing visuals is the sound design. The music in the game is really good and never overpowering. There are songs that are jazz influenced to songs that are more reminiscent to a Scooby-Doo haunted house type thing, and I think it fits really well. The music is never the main focus of the game, but it definitely doesn't take a backseat to the visual style either. I think it complements the visuals in a great way. They also managed to make the tracks repeat without ever feeling stale, and I think the great way they did that is by making them go in and out accordingly within the level. Such as when a stereo is being played in the room and you go behind a wall, the sound gets muffled a little bit and becomes clearer as you move back towards the stereo. Having the music change its volume depending on the character's location in the level is a great way to make it feel like the player is immersed in the location. Aside from the music, the sound effects play a major role in the experience of the game without affecting the gameplay at all. There is basically no voice acting in the game. It is almost entirely high-pitched vocal noises from the Tinykin, or what sounds like a unique cartoon alien language that is used all throughout the game. All the actual gameplay sound effects work really well too. They're cartoony, but not over the top. The popping of a soap bubble to being splatted on the ground after falling from a great height all sound like they would if you were watching a cartoon show, and I think that's a great approach. The writing in the game is decent. There's some humor in the game to go with the storyline. Now, the story is something that is really only present in between levels, so it is possible you'll kind of forget there even is a story, as you just play through a level looking for everything you need to collect to 100% the game. It's nowhere near as story focused when compared to something like It Takes Two, and the level designs are nowhere near as linear as something like that either. Every time you enter a level, you can run around in any direction at any moment, and you just need to figure out all the puzzles in the room before you move on. The game is also filled with a ridiculous amount of cultural Easter eggs, so you'll need to talk to every character and solve every puzzle if you want to see them all. From references to Star Wars to Jack and Rose from Titanic, and a hint at Casper the Friendly Ghost in every level, there's always something recognizable to put a smile on your face. But you'll never find those references if the gameplay sucks and you stop playing the game. So, does the gameplay keep your attention? For me, it absolutely did. I think it's one of the better feeling 3D puzzle platformers I've ever played. There's puzzles everywhere, there's fantastic level design that you need to make your way through, and there's an insane amount of collectibles to keep you searching and playing thinking, I'm not leaving the level until I find everything. It has a similar collection feel to finding every gem in a Spyro game, but it has the puzzle mechanics of a Pikmin game, and I think it's a fantastic combination of the two. During the course of the game, you'll find Tinykin that are super strong, that can explode, that can form a bridge, that can form a ladder, and ones that can allow electricity to pass through them. And using those abilities, you'll be able to solve any puzzle that comes your way. One aspect about it is that depending on what you're trying to do, the game automatically knows what Tinykin should be used in each situation. If you lock onto a wooden crate and throw one, the game will automatically use an exploding Tinykin. It prevents you from needing to guess what to send out. It's also a feature that allows the game to be more accessible to children as it takes away most trial and error that might occur otherwise. Personally, I felt like it was a really good design choice, as it kept the game from having the tedious task of manually changing your chosen Tinykin each time. You never need to go into a menu to choose which ones to use, and it helps the flow of the game stay at a fast pace, which is good for keeping the player's attention on the task at hand. The game also gives the player the ability to ride a bar of soap as a skateboard to travel long distances, and I think it's a great idea. Along with the upgradable float inside a soap bubble ability, basically any spot that the player can see inside a level is accessible. It works in a very similar manner to Spyro's glide ability, but the soap bubble can pop if you try to travel too great of a distance. Now, the one thing you haven't heard me talk about is the combat. And well, that's because there isn't any. The game has no form of traditional combat. The entire game is puzzle focused, and it was a great change of pace. From indie games to AAA games, across the entire industry, combat is such a big focus of video games. Should it be accessible to everyone? Should it be crazy difficult? Should the player have special abilities or upgradable weapons? Well, in Tinykin, you won't have any of those worries as the entire game has no traditional enemies. This design choice allowed the developers to focus on puzzle design and level design, and I think the extra attention to detail in those areas really paid off. It took me roughly 8 hours to beat the game and 11 hours to 100% every aspect and unlock all the achievements, and at no point did I miss having enemies to take out. It was a bold choice, but it kept the game from feeling like a generic platformer that is just following a similar mold to games like Spyro. It made sure the puzzles and collectibles were the focus, and sometimes that's just the type of game a player needs. If you follow the channel, you'll know I recently purchased an Xbox Series X, but I actually didn't use that to play this game. I actually spent some time watching my friend's dog, so I used their Xbox One to play the game, and using the older system, I had no issues with how the game ran. The gameplay was smooth, and I had no frame drops or anything of that nature. While the loading into the levels was a little long, you could spend an hour straight inside a level trying to find everything, so it's not like you were seeing a loading screen every 10 minutes. I expect the game to load even faster on the Series X, but I 100%ed the game on the Xbox One, and it worked fantastic for me. Now, all that being said, the game isn't perfect. This game is almost too easy. If you play a lot of platformers or any games with puzzles, then you should have no problem beating this game. It's almost to the point where you'll naturally do 80% of the puzzles just by running around and seeing an object that looks out of place and throwing a Tinykin at it and seeing what happens. Now, that's not a bad thing if you want something simple to relax to after a hard day at work, but if you typically want a challenge in your games, then this might actually be pretty boring for you. If you can get past the no combat and just enjoy it for what it is, then it's a great game, but I can definitely understand why someone might get bored running around and doing nothing but collecting items. Now, considering what I just said, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but a slight issue is that there's no hint system. I actually don't think you need a hint system for any of the puzzles, but in one level there is 1,600 pieces of pollen to collect. I found 1,599 and I was missing one small piece of pollen in this massive level, and it took me almost 2 hours of running around trying to find it. There's no radar or anything to help you find the collectibles, and they can be really tucked away, completely not visible unless you sneak behind a bookshelf or something of that nature. It can make the collection process extremely tedious, because with zero idea where in the level you need to look, you can spend 40 minutes on the other side of the level looking around every corner, just completely wasting your time. Maybe after you beat all the puzzles in the level, the game could give the player a general hot and cold radar system or something like that, just to give them a general idea where to look for the collectibles, because I can totally understand people giving up on completing the game if there's a couple pieces missing and the player feels like they searched everywhere. But with all that being said, after going over the highs and lows of Tinykin, I think if you enjoy any type of puzzle platforming game and you are a Game Pass subscriber, then you should absolutely give this game a try. Personally, once I started it, I couldn't stop. It took me 11 hours to 100% the game, and I did that in a 24-hour span. It just felt great to play, great to run around, and great to see the creativity of the levels, and it felt great solving all the puzzles. Now if you've been thinking about trying an older 3D platformer for the first time, then be sure to check out this video right here.